Salve, Skipuli. We're gonna just do quick highlights of the course syllabus. There is your course description. It's a little bit different than what you had maybe seen in the course catalog because I changed up what we're going to be reading. We will read still part of Ovid's Metamorphoses, but I thought some of the myths. With our current circumstances might fall a little bit flat. So we're also going to explore Plautus's Mostellaria. The Mostellaria is a little bit easier to access as well, and a little easier to focus on. So we're going to start with that, at least an adapted version of that, and then we will be moving into Ovid's Metamorphoses. So we'll be looking at Plautus and Ovid this semester, our goal is for you all to be able to pursue the seal of biliteracy. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Required materials for what you need. You will want a binder by the time we start Ovid. You're not going to get a ton of handouts, but in order to keep all of the myths and stuff together, that might be a good purchase if that's something you can start thinking of, but you won't need it for a while. The only textbook that you're getting is the green folder that you got today, or you'll be getting tomorrow when you're in person, or you came to pick up from me during pickup, and that's just your copy of the Mostellaria. It's by the adaptation we're reading is by Rachel Cunningham. Please don't do anything weird with it or anything, because technically we're kind of violating copyright, but because we're just trying to try this play out, that's what's going on there. You can see that you have your key core standards, etc., etc. Nothing much has changed from the other syllabi that you've seen from me, with the exception of the grade calculation. So this is your assessment policy, and this is probably the item that you're going to want to see the most. Basically, we're taking a shift into standards-based grading, but our standards are not already loaded into PowerSchool, so we're kind of just doing it in our own different way. So what you have here on this very first page is the breakdown of basically how you get an A. You're going to be assessed on the 4 communicative skills of reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So all of our assessments will have a reading option, a writing, a speaking, and a listening. So get ready for that. And basically this is just kind of the breakdown of how you would earn the various grades. So for example, if you want to be able to get an A, you have to be scoring 3s in at least 3 of the levels, and then you have to be able to get 1 4. And as we do our first assessments, you'll kind of see how that works, and you'll see the rubrics, and it'll make a little bit more sense. This is a working document, so I don't have everything linked here. So these are the 5 essential learnings, and then you can see the 4 ones. They're kind of in production still. So notice the speaking and listening is not here because that is kind of a newer thing. So we're going to kind of take a look more at the 5 because it's more done. As we get ready for the assessments, I will be presenting to you actual rubrics that have these full ideas lined up. So basically, for reading, in order to be able to get a 4, you need to be able to interpret the main ideas of an unadapted passage and synthesize supporting details from related passages to enhance understanding. And then basically where you would fall below that, these are the steps leading up to that. So if you can interpret parts of the main idea of an unadapted passage, which is where most of you are probably going to be starting, you're going to be hanging out in that one category for a little while. A 2, you can interpret the main ideas of an unadapted passage. 3, you can interpret the main ideas of an unadapted passage, and you attempt to do that synthesis. So that is what's going to get you a B, and then obviously being able to do it rather successfully over and over again is going to be what gets you the 4. Again, this is a working document. I'm making adjustments kind of as we go, so this kind of gives you a general idea, and I'm hoping by the end of the week, no later, you'll have a rubric linked for each of these. This one says conventions, and it's actually not even conventions anymore. We've broken out speaking and listening to be separate. So even this one isn't up to date. So just kind of give you a general idea, but the main reason I show you this document is because you're most likely going to want to see this grade breakdown. And again, I will have for you rubrics before we actually do any of the assessments. So that's that. The behavior contract, it's not really a big deal this year because we'll see how often you're in person. Academic dishonesty policy still applies. I'm sure you all have found a million ways plus one to kind of make things easier for yourself. And I'm not going to lie, if I think you're using a translator, I'm just going to call you out on it. So don't use a translator. You're only going to be kind of shooting yourself in the foot in the end. So don't use translators, but we'll talk about that more later. We're supposed to still be giving, we're not even giving BARC ratings this semester, I think, because there's no way to really assess a lot of your soft skills. So, but that's still there in case you're concerned about it. Remediation is almost a moot point as far as with the new grading system. So, but that's there. The main other thing to bring up is your seal of biliteracy. So you're going to have the opportunity to take the ALIRA exam, and that's basically just a focus on your reading assessment. To all my level 5s, you should take it. You should definitely take it and see how you score, because I think especially at the end of the semester, you all will be able to score high enough to get the seal, which for some of you, that means college credit. So most of you probably know which colleges you're going to now, or at least you're close to a decision. So maybe chat with them about what the seal of biliteracy in Latin can do for you. Whether it can get you out of certain classes or whether it can just give you some free credits. It's a nice little seal that goes on your diploma. It's fun stuff. But we'll talk more about that as the time gets closer. We'll probably be assessing that in April. If not late April, early May. For the 4s, you may want to think about taking it just so that you can kind of see how you're stacking up. You can earn the seal as a level 4, and then in that case, then you don't have to worry about doing it again in level 5 if you choose to take level 5. Okay, so that's kind of a general run over of the syllabus, and I realized there's one other thing I forgot to discuss with you with the assessment policy. Basically, the remediation statement is kind of a moot point, simply because it's only your final, your most recent assessments that matter. So like we're going to be doing a set of baseline assessments, and I anticipate a lot of you being in one, 2, or possibly some of you being in the 3 land. But that does not actually mean much of anything. It just lets me know that yes, you're in the right level. So we're going to be working on building those skills that are listed out in the rubrics that you'll be seeing. So don't panic. You won't probably have an official grade until I have at least 2 assessments for each mode in the grade book. So if any of you are concerned about eligibility and stuff like that with whichever sports and activities are actually going on, you're probably not going to have a real grade until at least a month out. So for the meantime, everybody will just kind of have a working grade of a B for a while, and I'll let you know when I'm actually going to start manipulating the grades. And by that, I just mean letting it move lower or higher than a B. And all of this, I think, will make more sense as you see the assessments and as you get the rubrics. So just kind of a general overlay of the land. The big things to get out of this is you should think about definitely getting a binder. And if you have a Latin dictionary, you want to keep that with you at all times while doing your Latin work. All right, so there it is. Walete, and move on to the next activity.